Am I the a-hole for not making my fiancé's breakfast correctly on the first try and then getting upset by her comments after? My 32 meters, fiancé 31F was working from home this morning. I asked her if she would like some bacon and an egg sandwich. She said yes. She does prefer mayo on both sides of the toast when she has this, but as I prepared it all, I forgot. As soon as I said it in front of her, I remembered and said, hold on, I forgot the mayo and I'll go put it on real quick. To which she replied, forget it, it's fucked now. I got upset by this comment as it made me feel as if I had somehow ruined breakfast, so I tried to explain that it was an easy remedy and the sandwich was most definitely not fucked. She told me to just forget it again, so I went back into the kitchen and finished making my sandwich and sat down. She came in and started to talk about how she thought it would be a fried egg, which again, just felt like she was complaining about nothing, as I never said I would be making a fried egg, just stated bacon and an egg sandwich. When I got upset that she seemed to still just be complaining, she basically told me that I was wrong. She wasn't complaining and was just making comments, and I was being an asshole for being upset since she didn't say anything wrong. Edit: I scrambled the eggs in a bowl with some seasoning and a bit of milk. Put it in the bacon grease and waited until it was cooked on the bottom, flipped the egg like a pancake and cooked the other side. Cut it in half and put it on the toast like a sandwich. Am I the a-hole for serving my 30F sister-in-law, 32F, dinner on a kid's plate? My husband and I have family dinners at our house every month or so with our family. I have some sets of fine china that I like to switch out between the seasons that I've inherited from my grandmother. When we have our get-togethers, I serve dinner on these plates. My sister-in-law, however, has made comments to me that they're not her style. I honestly didn't think twice her comment about it until this past February when one of my plates was put in the sink, broken. In April we had another dinner. This time Sil was carrying both her and her boyfriend's plates to the sink, and accidentally dropped both. Again, no biggie at all. In May she broke 2 more plates, and in June she broke a plate and a cup. At this point I was catching on. I brought up these concerns to my husband and he brushed it off as accidents. I told my mom and she said she thought my Sil was doing it on purpose and got me a camera to put in my dining room. In July we had dinner, and I had an opportunity arise. My Sil and her BF joined us for dinner. While our plates were still on the table, my asked how my plants were doing and I said I'd show her. I told my husband to follow us outside so he could show her the plant he's growing, leaving Sil alone with her BF. When we came back inside 5 minutes later, her plate was broken. When they left, I pulled up the camera footage. I saw her stand up when we walked out and peek around the corner, and then throw the plate on the ground. That brings me to this past weekend. We had our family dinner and we were joined by my in-laws, Sil and her BF, as well as my parents, siblings and niece. I served everyone, saving evil Sil for last. I brought her food out on a child's plate with a sippy cup and got those kids' silverware with the plastic handles. She looked at me confused and said, I think you mixed my plate up with your niece's plate, and I said no, niece's name is responsible enough to eat on a grown-up's plate. If you're going to act like a child in my home, I'm going to treat you like a child in my home. She tried to play coy, but I had my iPad ready and played the video to everyone at the table. She started sobbing, swiped the kid's plate off the table and stormed out. My in-laws both apologized and offered to pay for replacement plates, but I told them not to worry about it. When everyone left, my husband told me I was out of line and cruel, but I told him that this has been happening for months and I've told him it was bothering me multiple times. It's Wednesday, he's still being a little cold to me, and I also got a text from my SIL's boyfriend asking me if I would apologize to her because I really embarrassed her. I sent him the video again and he left me on read. My husband just called me to ask if I was taunting her boyfriend because his sister called him crying. Am I the a-hole for refusing to keep doing chores for my wife? I, 28M, and have been married to my wife Bella, 28F, for 5 years. We both met and went to the same college. She pre-law while I was doing animation. She graduated top of our class and went to a T20 law school. While she was in law school, I had a lot of trouble finding a job in my field or a job at all, really. I ended up working in a kitchen as a line cook to help support us, in addition to loans she took out while she was going to school so she could just focus on her classes. Bella got a very good job in a different state after she graduated, so I quit my job and haven't gotten another one since. We have no kids, a nice house for the 2 of us, and are overall living very comfortably. She works very long hours, so I take care of most of the household things. Cleaning, cooking, grocery shopping, repainting the walls and doing other work and renovations to the house. In the last 6 months Bella started referring to me as her house husband around our family and friends. I've mostly been letting it go, but every single time it bothers me. I'm already insecure about not being able to find a good job and it makes me feel even more inadequate. I finally got to the end of my rope when we were with her mother on Sunday, who still doesn't really approve of me, and they were talking about taking care of the lawn/garden, and she said, "Thank goodness I have a house husband for that, or I'd never find the time," and smiled at me. Then they both laughed. It was humiliating. I didn't say anything at first, but I guess she could tell that I was really upset and asked what was wrong. I told her that she needed to stop emasculating me and making it seem like I didn't contribute anything to the household. We were arguing back and forth and she told me that she would stop calling me a house husband if I was going to get that upset about it, but that it wasn't an untrue term and I needed to stop being insecure. Bella refuses to apologize. I feel like she doesn't fully appreciate my value as her husband. I've stopped doing the chores until she apologizes and she is beyond pissed off. She's been coming home and cooking dinner, only for herself, and doing the chores I haven't and then taking off to spend the night at a friend's house. I was talking to my sister about it and she told me that Bella was wrong but I was being immature in my response. The thing is, if I give in she's going to keep thinking what she's been doing is okay. I don't even know anymore. Am I the a-hole for telling my Bill I wouldn't invite his kids over anytime soon? My wife, 26F, and I, 27F, moved to a new house. We thought we'd throw a dinner party and invite both sides of our families. We used to live in a different state for 5 years and now is our opportunity to catch up with our loved ones. My Bill has 2 kids, Daniel, 5M and Rosie 3F. These kids were absolutely horrible during the entire dinner and their parents did not say a single word or even try to control them. Just to name a few examples. They moved pillows from sofas and chairs, spilled drinks and food on different surfaces, threw an orange on my Persian carpet, sat on it, made it explode and spread the orange on the carpet with their hands, broke 2 glasses, and overall ran around, shouting and screaming. I was the youngest in the family, and I didn't see kids much in my entire life. But this was horrifying to me and I was so pissed at my Bill and his wife for just watching their kids do these things and not saying anything. I told my wife to talk to her brother. She was as pissed as I was. However, she said she already talked to him but he said they were just kids and that's how kids grow up. He also said he wanted them to have a strong sense of self-confidence. While we were all saying goodbye, Bill told his kids, now that your aunties live nearby we'll come visit often. I said no, I don't think that's going to happen very soon. Bill was confused and asked why. I said because we actually love the peace and comfort in our home and these guys are a little cute tsunami. This made both Bill and his wife angry. He called me an entitled brat, and told my wife she was a horrible host. My friends think I was too rough. So I thought I'd ask. Am I the a-hole for checking out of parental duties after my wife said I'm not the father? My wife and I have been married for about 4 years. She brought 3 kids from previous relationships into the marriage while I have none. They moved into my house after the marriage because I live in a better school district. Obviously we've had our ups and downs but overall it's been good until a couple of weeks ago when I woke up and found a large dent running down the entire passenger side of my car. The dent is about a hand's wide, starts at the front fender, and runs down all the way to the rear tire. I was furious and thought someone sideswept my car as it was parked on the street. I checked our doorbell camera to see if it recorded anything and was surprised to see our 16-year-old daughter sneaking out of the house in the middle of the night and driving off in my car. She later returned hours later stumbling into the house. Outside of those 2 events, the doorbell camera didn't record anything else but a couple of passing cars that didn't come close to mine. I angrily showed my wife the recording and told her our daughter needs to be punished but she said that she'll talk to her. I argued that talk isn't enough which led us into an argument. My wife argued that the new family dynamic has been hard on the kids while I argued that it doesn't excuse the damage done to my car. I wanted her to agree to ground our daughter from social media and make her get a job to pay for the damage. We argued for hours until she said I don't get a say in any punishment because I'm not her father. That ended the argument and I walked off. Since then I've checked out of any parental duties. I've been an adult and still make sure the kids are safe and fed but I haven't done anything a father would do. They had doctor's appointments last week for their checkups because they play sports in school and I refused to drive them causing my wife to have to take off work. They start school next week and I've dropped them off ever since they moved in but I told my wife she'll have to do it this year. She argued she can't because of her work schedule and I answered her mother would figure it out. She called me a child and to grow up. I think since I'm not the father I don't have to take on the responsibilities of one but obviously she disagrees.